I'm about to go live. I'm about to go live.
I'm about to go live.
Yes, sir. We're about to go live. So now here we go. So I'm just waiting on the notification. Thank you very much. I want to thank everybody for watching. Hold on.
Right.
Okay, here we go. Boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of the People's Podcast, Off the Record on the People's Podcast this evening. We have an incredible guest with us, one who came the first time, and we did gave us great information as well as inspiration, and he's ready to come back with so much that we weren't able to dive into in the first podcast due to time, but he's back for a part 2, and that is none other than the epidemiologist and former first officer of Brooklyn. That is brother Robert E. Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam, brother Joshua. It's good to see you, brother. And
It's good to see
I'm
you as
humble.
well, sir.
And brother, I wanna thank you for inviting me back. You know, this is a humbling experience. And I'm gonna let you know, brother, I'm extremely nervous.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. We good. Well, brother, we want to talk directly into what you just told me about dealing with the pandemic and working with the CDC. Can you let us know what that experience was like?
Yes, sir. As I told you, we'll bring this back to full circle, but I'm an epidemiologist professionally, more so on the social side of epidemiology, where I actually serve as a program director, and I've served as a program director over numerous infectious disease programs in New York City. I work on the supervisory side, training others to do the work, and on the research side, and dealing with grants and nonprofits, and everything that comes with that: budgeting, funding, fiscal analysis, etc. Because all of that, those are the unseen powers behind the medical establishment, public health, and also medicine. Those are the sides that people don't see, which are really the sides that undergird, or they're the foundation of these professions. Now, I did some training with the CDC back in February of 2020. I had visited the CDC. I was invited to come to the training based on some work that I did. And this was, I believe it was right after Savior's Day when I went to Atlanta, Georgia, to the CDC headquarters. Real quick, the CDC headquarters in Atlanta, I'm going to tell you straight up, is a military installation. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, although they pose themselves as a medical organization, which they are, but it's a medical organization that's founded on military science. It's founded on military activity in terms of how they operate within the epidemiological, infectious disease, and population health areas. When I went there were members from every major government agency, probably from FBI and other federal law enforcement agencies, some local law enforcement agencies. There were members from every branch of the military there, of the U.S. military, from U.S. intelligence agencies, and there were people like myself there from the private sector. And we were told about the coming of COVID-19. Long story short, they really didn't know what the disease or the virus was. They knew that it was, at the time, they said it was coming out of China. And they wanted to develop some emergency responses to the virus, because they knew that it was going to spread, because there was no control factors in the very beginning. They saw that there was no way for them to contain it. They knew that. I was there again. I even wore my FOI pin when I was in these trainings. I just wanted to let it be known that, who I am and who I come from.
Yes, sir.
Some people saw it and they knew what it was, and little head nod, they understood. But they, when I say they, I mean the CDC. They didn't know how they were going to respond to the disease specifically because they didn't have all the specific facts of how or the mechanisms of how this disease would work until it would actually hit. So most of the training it involved data collection. It involved protection, personal protection equipment. It involved isolation and quarantine measures they would need to take once they knew this virus would hit the human population in the United States. So I say all that to say they kind of knew what was going to happen, and they knew that it was really going to be out of control. And at the end of the day, they weren't really prepared, for the response. And after I did the 4 days training there, I returned back to New York and shared some of the information with the agency that I work for, and the rest is history. This thing just, got out of control. Um, Spread like wildfire, and they really most common people, and when I say common people, I don't mean just the everyday person walking down the street. I'm talking about those who work in medical organizations specifically. They were not fully informed and knowledgeable about how bad this thing was going to get, and nobody can put it better than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. That this is definitely, I believe that this is my personal opinion, that it started out as something because these countries or nations, they have secret wars all the time. And part of that warfare is chemical and biological warfare. So my personal belief, because of my knowledge of viruses and how they work, because COVID-19 happens to be part of what you call a retrovirus family. And when I say retrovirus, I mean that it's a virus that when it gets into the system, what it does is it's an RNA virus. So you know that the human being, we have DNA. Our genetic code is DNA. The
Yes, sir.
genetic code of a virus is RNA. But the virus has the ability that when it enters the bloodstream, that it works to change the RNA into a fake copy of DNA. So it tricks the system. So it works with military precision, the same way that HIV works. So
Mm.
there's a lot of similarities there. So, and that tells me right there that, something, was afoot. So you have uh, this particular virus that's part of influenza, but is working in a totally different way than the other influenza type viruses. So what happens is it gets into the system and it works to destroy or to corrupt the immune system. So what you have also in COVID, it's an immunodeficiency effect. So if there's any underlying health conditions, which I believe it was specifically made for that it attacks that person's inability to fight against this particular virus, COVID, with antibodies. See,
Mm.
so the weaker a person's immune system is, the faster this COVID has the ability to take a person out. And it seems to work in those, again, who have weak immune systems. So the elderly, people that are sick with underlying health conditions, they're definitely at high risk, if they come in contact with this. But it works, again, it works with military precision. And as the minister said, as it being a pestilence from heaven, I believe that it began as one thing, but with the intervention of who the God is that we believe in, I believe that this enemy is suffering right now from that. So I'll put a period on that right there.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. Thank you for that
Any
amazing
question?
information. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. And thank my sister Miriam sends a greeting, sister Captain Brenda sends a greetings, and sister Marshall Taylor says peace family as well. Thank you all for continuing to watch People's Podcast. I
Alaikum
can't wait to put
salam.
this on YouTube. Okay,
Hmm.
yes, sir. So let's deal with earlier I spoke with a brother, brother Khalil, who was in New York in the Brooklyn Mosque and is a friend of yours as well.
My
And he
man.
told me, yes, sir. He told me some of the great times that you all had putting in work in
Yeah.
Brooklyn. Yes, sir. Well, with you being there, we spoke about all the administrations. Who was the minister when you came into the nation, like of Brooklyn or of New York?
Well, when I came in the nation, brother Minister Khalid was the minister in New York. When I accepted, joined, and got my ex, he was the minister in New York City.
Yes, sir. Okay, amazing. And with him being the minister, what was it like being trained under him?
I mean, back then, I mentioned to you before that like New York at that time was like the man manufacturing plant, and brother Khalid was hardcore, and he was, even though he's a great teacher, but on the military side, he was a general, and we had hard charging lieutenants at that time. We had a hard charging first officer by the name of brother Jason X. We had Captain William, at the time, Big Will was the captain. And again, the training was, we were extremely militant, a lot of drilling, a lot of maneuvers, a lot of military science, in the FOI classes at that time. And I, you know, I would love to kind of see that come back, in various ways, you know. But the training was hardcore. If you notice, like brothers that come from that era, we're kind of a little different, and it comes from the training. And it wasn't just New York. I mean, Jersey was like that, Philly was like that, just talking about the East Coast all the way down to DC, brothers was like that. Of course, during that time, the Shah was like that because your father was hardcore military as well. He became a supreme captain when I, kind of like my first 2 years or so in the nation. And when he became a supreme captain, you saw like nationally there was just a hard charge on us being militant, being security minded, and the FOI, really being known, to be some hardcore special operators. That's how it was back then, you know. And again, we don't have to get back to all of that, but we need to get back to some of it, I would say. We're doing some good, you know.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, you being a former first officer, what advice would you give to some of the brothers who are in leadership or aspiring to be in leadership to instill some of that military training?
Evolution. Study military science, but don't study it from the perspective or mindset of the white man. See? Because we are spiritual military first, right? So spiritual military, we put the God that we believe in, he's at the head of that. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is our general. So we follow him. If you look at the minister, I mean, he has a unique military mind, even when he's teaching spiritually. So if you have the ear for the military instructions that he's giving out, you'll catch it. You'll see that, okay, he's pointing us in this direction. We need to take this maneuver and put it to work this way because he, I said this to you before. He's very different. He doesn't have to put it in the context of like some rah rah type of military instruction. He's giving it to us on such a unique spiritual level that again, you have to have a trained ear to know that what he's saying from the spiritual side, how you can take that and use it on the military side, while at the same time, you're not being a killer, you're not being a destroyer, but that you're being a savior to your people. And at the same time, you're setting up a hedge of protection that is founded on the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, you know? So, for the young officers, study military science, study maneuvers, but don't just study them, practice maneuvers. Take what you hear, take what you learn, and put it to, as we say in the medical world, put it to praxis. You
mm,
know, meaning you go out and do it. You don't just take it for theory. You put it to praxis. You put it to work. See, at the same time, understand. I'm talking about the FOI. Understand your men. Understand the men. Get to know the men that are under your charge. Understand diversity. That's very, very important for an officer because we're all not the same. The unique thing about the nation is that you already know overall as Black people, we're not a monolithic people. So we all, although we're Black, we come from the same God, but we come from different experiences, different walks of life. So when men come into the ranks, you have to know a man's personality. You have to know his likes, his dislikes. You have to even know his weaknesses and his strengths. See, so that you don't put him in a box and treat him like you may treat another brother. See, so it's very important for us, to understand diversity. It's very important for us to understand culture because we all come from different cultures and different, experiences, in terms of us, who we are as Black people. So it's very important for an officer to do that. If an officer can come along and he can bring unity through that diversity, he'll be successful.
mm,
See? So how do you take a man from Chicago, take a man from New York, take a man, from the Caribbean and put them all in the same ranks? These men come from different experiences, but how do you get them to meet the same objective? See? So it's a science to it. And another thing that officers today have to do is don't hold people back. And this is not just for officers, this is even for laborers. Don't hold people back. See, a good leader is able to spot talent in the ranks. Even if that talent is better than you, even if that talent has something that you don't have, he may be smarter in certain areas. So, in order to do a great service to the nation, as a lieutenant, as a captain, as a minister, whichever post that you hold, a secretary, you have to have the unique eye to spot future leadership, along with duplicating yourself in others. See, that's what makes a great leader. And the minister wants us to grow a nation. We need infrastructure, we need institutions, see, we need government, we need talent. So if we're going to attract the talent that's in the mosque, and the minister goes into this in the beautiful book, Closing the Gap. If we're going to attract talent in the mosque and out of the mosque, we have to become more proficient in those areas that I mentioned when we get into these positions of leadership. It's very, very important. And encourage brothers and sisters to do better. Encourage brothers and sisters to go to school, get various education, and bring it back to the mosque. See, that's why I love history so much, because when you study the history of Japan, when the Japanese, it was in 1853, you had a white man by the name of Commodore Perry. He took these warships to the coast of Japan. This is when Japan was kind of still caught in the traditional and the samurai period. And when they realized the power that the white man had, they all met and they said, you know what? We got to send our people to Europe. We got to send our people to America, send them to MIT, send them to Harvard and all these different schools, get an education in engineering and military science and medicine, etc. And those students brought all of that information back to Japan, and Japan became an empire and gave the Russians hell and gave the United States hell before and during and after World War II. And they still giving us hell economically because they know who they are and they send their people out to gather information, to get education, and they bring it back home. So as a leader in the mosque, we have to encourage the believers to go out there, acquire those needs, come back and bring it to your nation. And that's why I went and got an education. I was inspired by the teachers, inspired by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and I came to a realization that what I was doing as a lieutenant, as a first officer, it was bigger than that. It was bigger than that. So, you know, that's the advice I would give.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. And I want to thank you for your amazing testimony and your sacrifice. And I want to thank everybody for who's continuing to watch People's Podcast. Yes, I can't stress, I want to thank you for your sacrifice and the sacrifice of your family. On
Brother,
behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing audience, we greatly appreciate it, sir.
yes, sir. All praise due to
Speak,
Allah.
speaking of your education, what
Right.
was the driving force behind you getting an education?
You really want to know?
Yes, sir.
Do you really, really want to know?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Prison.
Mm.
Prison. Prison. Self-affliction. Pain. Error. Embarrassment. See? So my tenure as the first officer in Brooklyn ended when I stepped out back into the world and was involved in some situations that I shouldn't have been involved in, and caused me to get incarcerated. See? During that time period, again, it was a lot of pain because I hurt my family. I had a beautiful marriage, MGT wife, and I messed all of that up. You know, I realized later on, see, sometimes we don't realize the role that we play in people's lives and how it affects them. So when I was away, I was getting letters from a lot of FOI. And one letter in particular that impacted me was I got a letter from Brother Salim, right? It was like a 4-page letter, front and back. And in that letter, I don't even know if Brother Salim still, he has a great memory. He knows this. Well, I'm talking about our current first officer in Brooklyn.
Yes, sir.
He wrote a letter to me and he expressed the respect he had for me and how he looked up to me when he first came in the ranks. And the letter like really brought tears to my eyes because I didn't know, because I really never looked at myself like that when I was in a position. I was just doing, you know, what I had to do. So hearing that from him and other brothers that were writing me, and some of the brothers that visited me, again, you know, shout out, you know, to my man, brother Khalil, you know, because he always made sure that I was good, you know, visited me and everything. A couple other brothers as well, and you know, it was hurtful because I didn't know that I had that type of impact or effect on some of the brothers that were around me. So that was a lesson, you know, to be learned. But during my incarceration, I did a lot of introspection. I had to, you know, where the teachings was concerned, where my personal life was concerned. Um, one of the ways that helped me a lot was that I was bitter, I was angry. Or just to add again, Brother Hafiz was extremely angry with me, upset with me at the time. But I went to a certain facility and I was transferred to a certain facility. This is kind of like where it all began, leading up to my education. And this facility was very, very progressive, if you want to use the term rehabilitation. They were very progressive where that was concerned on the education side. But on the spiritual side, I'm gonna tell you, brother, I still needed help. I needed help because really, even when I first came to the nation, I wasn't a very spiritual person. I was knowledgeable, you know. I read it, of course. Read a lot, got a lot of information, but I was kind of like really stoic. I was like a stoic, if you know what I mean by that. I was,
Could you explain? Could you explain?
yeah, I was stoic in the sense that, and I know some of the brothers are laughing at me, you know, hearing this now because they know that I didn't really show emotions. I didn't really show feelings, you know. I just took things as they came and just, had the strength to endure and to, overcome the hurdle, you know. And again, see, that's militant, but it's not spiritually militant. See what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
See? So there was an imbalance there. See? So now when I arrived at this facility, unfortunately, but fortunately, there was another FOI there, right? Whom we knew each other from the mosque as well. But he had got into a situation. I'll let him tell you his story when you interview him. But I'm talking about John Muhammad, or we call John 9 or Muhammad, right? In Mosque number 7. So short of the long story is that now Brother John is, he was in the ministry. He's still in the ministry now after, coming home and going back into the mosque. But he's a very spiritual brother. So when him and I ran into each other at this particular facility, of course, we're going to test each other, where you at with it. The first thing he asked me, like, yo, brother, like, what are you doing here? And I'm explaining everything to him. So then he asked me, he said, well, brother, he said, you still in the teach? I said, of course. And then he asked me, he said, do you believe that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is physically alive?
Mm.
I said, yes, sir. So, then I asked him a few questions. We just checking each other's temperature. But it was Brother John, who I always give credit to, that, our interactions, studying together, and we were heavily into the study guides and studying together and going through even our own personal differences and filling each other out and our disagreements, but not on the negative side, more on the positive side, because again, we were just building, exchanging information, exchanging ideas. But he helped me kind of shape my spirituality. See? So that's what, kind of brought me on the spiritual side. See? So I give credit to him for that. And he was the NOI representative in the facility. And, brother used to teach in there, and, brother was doing a fantastic job, and hearing him reminded me of the mosque a lot, because anywhere else that I went in the state at that time, brothers was not impressing me at all, of course, because of my experience. But,
Yes,
when I met up with my brother, it reminded me a lot of just hearing the word and the teachers from the mosque. And again, our personal interactions helped me out a lot to get more inclined, to my spiritual side. And we still like that with each other. We still like that till this very moment with each other. So while I was there, that kind of built up again my spirituality. And then there was a lucrative college program that came into the facility, and you had to take like a writing test. So I was able to pass the writing test, and I hadn't been to college like really since the early '80s, because when I was going to college in the early '80s, I wound up dropping out because I just wanted to, get money in the street at that time. So
yes, sir.
I left college. So it'd been a while, since I'd been in a college setting. And I went into Bard College. I don't know if you ever heard of Bard College. It's a very prestigious college in New York. And good classes. Really, really challenged what I thought I knew about things and subjects and whatnot. I realized I didn't know enough, because they had some really sharp professors coming in, as well as students from the outside campus coming into the facility at that campus. And I wind up earning my associate's degree first. And I was impressed. I said, wow, I was able to do this. But having the teachings, you realize that, this is easy when you compare it to the teachings. Um, then from there, I wound up getting a bachelor's degree I had a double major in social psychology and history. So I got my bachelor's there. Now they have another program where you can earn a master's degree at a seminary school. I don't know if you ever heard of New York Theological Seminary.
No, sir.
Okay, well, it's a prestigious seminary school in New York, and I had to transfer to another facility to go into this master's degree program. Um, so I just, being a follower of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I really just knocked that out the park, you know. And I received a master's degree in in urban studies from New York Theological Seminary. It's more of like a research degree and master's degree. So once I got released back back home, back in the mosque, I went back in the mosque like 2 weeks after I was home. Man, brother, I couldn't wait to get back to the mosque after going through that, man. I couldn't wait. So I beeline, back to the mosque like 2 weeks after my release. So then I already was kind of working in the public health field, but in order for me to advance, I needed to get a specialized degree that was specifically for public health. So I wound up going back to school. I actually had wanted to go into a PhD program, but being that I was working in public health, I had to get that specialized degree. So I went back and worked towards a Master of Science in public health. And it took me like a year and a half to finish that. And here I am,
Praise
and
be to God.
praise due to Allah. So after earning that degree, it really did advance me far, into the public health field. And I'm really like just not dying to, but I really just want to transfer these skills over into our nation. Um, the minister, he gave us 9 ministries, and which he talks about extensively in Closing the Gap. And it's a very, like, it makes you sad, like when you read it, because the minister says in Closing the Gap that he was in his hospital bed and he weighed on the state of the Nation of Islam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And he felt that the nation could no longer advance in the current condition that we were in. And I know that Dr. Alim had a lot to do with it in terms of what he shared from his observations. See? So between Study Guide 21 and reading that and Closing the Gap, in Study Guide 21, the minister says that education, he's the first person I ever heard make this statement. Education is a torchlight for civilization. So if you look at the two words, education and then civilization, how do they really connect? Is our definition of civilization is what we see in a white man? Is our definition of education in what we see in the white man? So if we go to the teachings and we see where in Supreme Wisdom, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is telling us that the student, see, from the opening, brother, from the gate, we're students.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Students are supposed to learn.
That's right.
Am I correct?
That's right.
Students are supposed to be in school.
That's right. That's right.
See? So if he's telling us that the things are just coming to me. That the original nation is located on every part of the planet.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See, how do we go into those assignments as students if we're not educated?
Beautiful. Beautiful.
See
Yes,
that?
sir.
See? So now here we go. Now the Honorable Elijah Muhammad showed us that, what, in 1934? Here we are in 2021.
That's right.
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, you know, I heard Brother Nuri, we were at dinner one night, and he made this statement. He said, you know, brothers, he said, when the minister says something, I don't just take it as him making a statement. I take it that he's giving us instructions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
I
sir.
said, man, that's a powerful statement right there, you know. So if the minister is telling us in this hospital bed how he feels about our condition, our state, as believers, man, we should be driving hard to get our skilled and talented people and inspire others to go out there and get those skills and talents. See? See, we have to get out of this mode of thinking that the mosque is just the nation, that minister, secretary, FOI captain, MGT captain, now protocol director, that's the nation. Absolutely no, sir. See? We need institutions.
That's right. That's right.
We need infrastructure
Yes, sir.
if we're going to survive. See, we need government if we're going to survive. And I think that one thing we have to understand is that governments grow like people. Now, what I'm saying is put this in the context of the Nation of Islam. Governments grow like people, right? Because they're
Yes, sir.
ran and operated by people. See? So the way we express things, the way we do things, sometimes it can become obsolete. And the minister talks about this in Closing the Gap.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See? So it may not work for the present time, but most importantly, for the next generation. See?
That's right.
So this particular generation of believers, they may not want to do it or express it the way we did back in 1990. So where's the space for them to have free thinking and be able to express their way of the teachings to help the nation grow? See?
Yes, sir.
See? So, you know, brother, on a daily basis, man, these issues are on my mind, brother. They ride with me every day because I think that the nation, we at the vanguard, you know, we have to confront the world. I think academically, we have to confront the world ideologically, you know, because look how much we're up against in today's world with music, with hip hop, with sports, with government, with COVID, you know, we're up against a lot. So if we are the vanguard, and I believe that we are the vanguard, we have to really step it up in terms of making sure that not just the nation, but that our people, Black people, that we can survive, that we're going to live going into the next 2-3 decades. See? What do we have in place? See what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
sir.
even going back to academically, right? You know, we need philosophy of the teacher.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
this is where the great minds in the nation have to come together. See, not special interest groups or special interest individuals. because there's so many of us in the nation that have qualified ourselves. So again, for some of us, don't get stuck in your mode, because somebody got to write the philosophy. What is the purpose of the teaching? See?
Yes, sir.
What is the foundation of the teaching, the various aspects of it? It has to be of our history hasn't really been written yet.
That's right. That's right.
See? So we need to bring our great minds together for that. We need to do a historiography of the nation.
I agree.
See? So we have to look at past and present writings of our history and be able to disseminate that, to dissect that. See? To examine it and then be able to write answers for it. And I'm just saying all of this because this is part of how we'll make it even into the next millennium. See? This is not just for now.
Yes, sir.
What
Yes, sir.
about in the next 10, 20, 30 years? The educational process. You know, I taught at the MUI, Brother John and I, the last school term. And we taught sixth graders. We taught the Islamic studies class.
Yes, sir.
And these sixth graders, brother, our youngsters in the nation are brilliant, bro. They are brilliant. So we can't give them the teachings like some fairy tale. We can't give them the teachings being dogmatic. See? Being just spewing rhetoric. See? So Brother John and I, we designed the course where we demonstrated to them how you can take supreme wisdom, how you can take Quran, how you can take the Bible, how you can take all the various aspects of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and make it practical. Take it and how to be social with it without coming off as a religious fanatic or as some crackpot.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
when you teach the deportation of the moon, don't just say a scientist drilled a hole
That's right.
and caused an explosion,
That's
and the
right. That's
part
right.
that went out we caught. No, it's bigger than that. So we taught them how to explain it scientifically. See, without even having to make it sound like some sensational story that was made up by someone. So now, when you explain the scientific side of it, now when you get to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, it makes sense. Same thing we did with Yaqub's history. When we went into Yaqub's history, I taught them the science of eugenics.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See? And of course, that's my field. So I taught them the science of eugenics. I taught them how you can isolate a gene by race. See? So I showed it to them scientifically. So nobody could never tell them that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teaching of Yaqub is wrong. See? So, you know, those are just some of the examples, brother, on because I can go on. With, like, we have to advance our expression of the teaching, man. And, you know, when I'm always reading from the minister, this is what he desires for us to do. So it's not just about drilling. It's not just about standing on posts with the stone face. No, man, we have to build a nation, bro. That's what I'm into. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. You know?
Praise
Yeah,
be.
I've been going, man. Any questions?
Oh yes, sir. Yo, we got some more for you, and I agree with that. Sister Minister Aisha out of Phoenix, Arizona says we have to teach how the teachings relate to all sciences. Yes, sir. My sister Naima says peace, family.
Right.
And I have a follow-up question for you with eugenics, as far as teaching Yaqub's history to people. How would you use it using eugenics? How would you break that down to someone who never heard the teachings, as far
Right.
as the making of the white man.
Right. Well, first you would explain what eugenics is. Is using the science of birth control or reproduction as a means of population control. So it can involve chemical warfare. So you would advance this agenda by what do you call it? Sterilizing people, sterilization programs, which they did. I'm sure you heard of this woman, Margaret Singer, and others who started Planned Parenthood. So abortions, sterilization programs, the promotion of birth control pills, see, and other types of prophylactics that when you use them, they destroy the anatomy, which would prevent people from reproducing themselves. See? So when you teach that science of eugenics, because we know that is real, the records are here, the receipts are here. So now when you take what Yaqub did based on the separation of the brown germ from the black germ and how he used the brown germ to make a whole nother people. See? That's eugenics, because during that process, he killed off the black. He killed off the brown. That's eugenics. See? That's how you teach that, to show that what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us is right and exact. See? So even if someone doesn't want to accept Yaqub, but I tell you one thing, you're going to accept the process because you can't deny that.
Yes, sir.
So
yes,
we
sir.
still win.
Praise be to Allah. Yes,
we
sir.
still win, brother.
Yes, sir.
And again, that's academic. That's just an intellectual way of conveying the truth that the messenger gave us and the truth that the minister continues to give us. You know?
All praises due to Allah. Beautiful. Yes, sir. And I would follow up by saying, I think people, especially our people, we practice it whether we know it or not, with only dating light, and this
Right.
one dating this because of pretty hair, and this one dating, and not
Right.
and date, and trying to have mixed children and all, and then the two mixed children marry. You know what I'm saying? It goes on. So for sure, we
Right.
practice.
And what you just expressed, those are the social characteristics of it. See that?
Yes,
See?
sir. Praise be
Right.
to Allah. Brother Damien says all praises due to Allah with the whole bunch of muscles. And Sister Minister Aisha says she's really enjoying this. Praise be to Allah. And we coming right back to our brother Robert E. Muhammad after a quick 60-second commercial break, because we have so much to continue to discuss with him, or as they would say in New York City, where he is from, most of the people say we have to come back and continue to build with our brother Robert E. Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Hold on one second. So all of this, I want to thank all of the sponsors of this month's People's Podcast. We have some great sponsors, and I want to thank you all. If you would like to be a sponsor or donor to the People's Podcast, please cash at the People's Podcast. Is greatly appreciated. It helps us keep going. My brother Rashad, Treat Premier Media Production. He has a 4K camera and a drone. He does television and film editing. Please reach out to him if you need any of those services. My sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me, children's book and coloring book, both of which are available on Amazon. Please go out and get both of those books. Continue to keep up the great work. Sister Miriam, thank you, Sister Love It, for your showing love in the comments. My sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country and right here in Atlanta, Georgia in the studio. We love our tiny dancers. Thank you very much. Please sign up. Sister Rashida with Rod Communications, they're doing a 5-year anniversary special promo. If you need book consulting, if you're working on a book, if you need project management, media relations, if you're working on a book, please reach out to Rod Communications, special 5-year anniversary special promo. Thank you very much, Sister Rashida. Rafat, Sister Melva, Elevated Places at a wonderful school. Speaking of education, right down in Houston, Texas, they do a great job. Sister Melva Muhammad out of Houston, Texas, the Elevated Places, where I am, where God says I am. Thank you very much. Our brothers out of Austin, Texas, Minister Robert L. Muhammad the conflict mediation, squashing the beef in the communities. He did a great job twice on here, with once by himself and once with his wife, doing speaking of the work they do in the community, and his wife, Sister Fudia Muhammad, with her book, Children of the Most High, Giving Birth to a God, The Science of Child Rearing. Sister Fudia Muhammad, please make sure we go out and get that book. Thank you very much. We're coming right back to Brother Robert. Bow tie, Brother Kenneth, bow tie maker extraordinaire. He does an excellent job, and he'll ship bow ties, ship bow ties all across the country for you. Thank you very much, Brother Kenneth. Thank you, everyone who's watching. Asiatic Minds Online, Asiatic Minds on School. It's a virtual school. It's launching this September. They're making young kings and queens. Speaking of education, brilliant minds being taught by brilliant teachers and educators. Thank you very much, Sister Sherry Muhammad with Asiatic Minds Online. Thank you very much. Dr. Henry M. Carter, King Henry's Turkey Legs, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Please make sure we continue to support. He has a new location for the Rashad Muhammad COVID-19 disinfecting cleaning services. My father's book, AbdulSharif.com. Soldier in the Movement of Christ, AbdulSharif.com. And last but not least, my two books, Cleopatra with the K, which is on Amazon, a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse, both of which are on Amazon. Thank you all very much for your continued sponsor and donations. It's truly appreciated. Especially out to the anonymous donations that I get as well. I appreciate that. Okay, Brother Robert, thank you very much for your amazing information as well as inspiration. I want to talk to you about diabetes.
Yes, sir.
It affects our families. It affects us individually, especially us as Black people, Black men,
yes,
Black women, but especially Black men. Can you let us know what your situation was with diabetes, and how did you, break it down for us?
Listen, brother, diabetes had a hit on me, man. Diabetes had a hit on me, bro. But diabetes lost.
Praise
you
be
know.
to
But on the serious side, I'm diagnosed as a diabetic. Diabetes is a very dangerous disease, very, very dangerous. And again, it depends on what type you are. You have type 1 diabetic, you have type 2 diabetic. There are differences there. You'll find the type 1 diabetics, these are people who are born with diabetes. They call it prenatal diabetes, or they may contract diabetes while they're children, like toddlers, you know. Then you have type 2 diabetes, which people can develop when they get older, when you're in adulthood. And it could be lifestyle, or what the enemy says is a genetic deficiency, where they say it may run in your family. And diabetes does run in my family. So allegedly, that's how I became diagnosed. And I was pretty much older when it happened, because it's crazy, because I at the time I was like a bodybuilder. Like I was into it. And this was like around 2011. And at that time I was like in my late 40s in 2011. And it was like a shock to me, not just knowing that I had become a diabetic, but it shocked my body. It shocked my body. And diabetes is like an autoimmune disease. And what I mean by autoimmune is that it attacks the immune system, because diabetes is in the blood. Your immune system is activated by your blood. So diabetes causes a problem, an autoimmune problem, when your body is not able to produce glucose, so that it can process the sugar into energy. So what happens is, kind of like a simple demonstration: if your blood gets thick, there's no circulation, or the circulation is very low. And what it does, it attacks the body organs, specifically your kidneys, your liver, your pancreas, which can affect the heart. And then it attacks the lower extremities of the body, meaning your feet, your legs. You know, it interrupts the circulation. So when you lose the the functions of your lower extremities is not a thing to play with. So that's why you see some people, if it gets extreme, they get amputations and things of that nature because it comes from neuropathy. With me, I've gotten real sick to the point where the believers, the brothers, man, they were so concerned about me because everybody's used to seeing me up. And I got so sick, brother, that I literally thought I was gonna die.
Mm.
And the brothers thought I was gonna die. I mean, everyone was worried about me, Brother John, Brother Salim, Captain Richard. I mean, you know, every Brother Henry. I mean, brothers was really, really concerned. Now, my walk around weight is usually like 170, and I've always been in tip top shape. Um, it had gotten so bad that I had weighed myself one day. I was so skinny that I was 137 pounds. It was unbelievable. I
Mm.
couldn't believe it, you know. And it came from one of the doctors told me that they classify me as a healthy diabetic, which is
Mm.
really a negative term because I was in general a healthy person, the diabetes attacked my muscle structure. So because I had a problem um, producing glucose and my body needed energy, so it started feeding off my muscles.
Mm.
See?
Mm.
So again, this is autoimmune. Your body is turning on itself. That's what happened to me. And like I said, I thought I was gonna expire. But, you know, being the person that I am, I was like, no, I can't do this. you
Exactly.
know. So after experimenting on myself in various ways with medication, with some holistic things, and I just really, brother, of course, how to eat to live, and when I say how to eat to live, I don't mean like you just read a passage from the book. Uh, just eat bean soup and you'll get well. No, not like that. Not like that. That's kind of spooky. Not like that. But real talk. so,
Yes, sir.
so, you know, I'm studying how to eat to live. Uh, you know, the messages said in the book, don't eat certain things, even things that we may deem as healthy. If you're a diabetic, may not necessarily be good for you. You know, so I took in a lot of that information, other information that I was studying, and then I really just went back into the gym. And brother, I went hard in the gym, brother,
Yes,
and
sir. Yes, sir.
to the point where I was putting videos on Facebook
Mm. Mm.
to allow people to see the progress. And this is all documented, you
Yes,
know,
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
to allow people to see the progress. And, you know, from eating right, not that I was eating wrong, but I had to design a way, like a diet that my body could properly respond to. Because I'm gonna keep it 100, bro. A lot of things that you may be able to eat that's healthy for you, in general, might not be healthy for me. See, so you got to know what carbs not to eat. You got to know what carbohydrates you can eat that won't raise your blood sugar. You have to know the amount of protein intake you need. And I tell people all the time who are suffering from diabetes, if you don't work out, if you don't work out, one more time, if you don't work out, diabetes will kill you. See? Because again, it's an autoimmune disease. the way it attacks your body physically, your offense and defense is working out. See? And I believe that my workout programs, just look, people will testify. I saw this brother just bounce back from what he was, and I was tip top shape, brother. Tip top shape. My what you call the A1C, which is your overall blood sugar level. My A1C went back to normal. And I had to do a combination of things. You gotta, and I've heard the minister keep this 100 with us, keep it real. If you have to take medication, it's okay. The pharmacy does have some value. We ain't spooky.
That's right.
It does have some value. See, just fasting and eating bean soup every day is not going to be the only way to get healthy. There are times when you may have to take medication. But if you know your body and you study your body like I did, you know how much and how long of that medication you need to take. And you have to have the conversation with the doctors and you have to let them know where you're at with it. Like, listen, I'm not going to be a medication junkie. I'm going to do this, and that in order to get off the medication. But the best way to get yourself off the medication is by working out, bro. You have to be on a strict workout program. You have to be disciplined. You have to be dedicated, and that's FOI training. You know, that's FOI training. We got to be in shape. We got to be healthy, and all of that helped me bounce back, bro. So I went from that 137 back to what I know my normal weight is. And I had believers and other people that's not in the nation contacting me when they saw the progress, you know, like, how did you do it? You know, what kind of workout routine could I get on? And, you know, I give people advice and I feel bad because I wish I could do it more. And I plan to, when this is something else, but there is going to be a health ministry coming because I'm working with some other believers and some other people in our community that do medical work and public health work, and we're in the process of putting this together. Last thing on that is when we have it set up, I'm going to seek the advice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan on how to perfect it. See? So again, this is part of infrastructure, but when we put that together, I'm going to add that diabetes program on a whole nother higher level than what I did, you know, to help our people, you know, get themselves together where that is concerned. Because I'm a bear witness, man. My experience is empirical, brother. I saw it on the downside, and I know how you can lift yourself up, you know.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful, beautiful. And thank everyone who came to watch, and thank you for your testimony. I have a quick thing I want to just make sure that I give a quick, if you could give us like a PSA to the young men in the nation and out of the nation who seem to think that prison is cool. If you could tell us like an experience, something that you saw that would, like, you know, kind of scared you straight, or they can maybe scare somebody else straight. Because a lot of the FOI have been in prison. I always try to get them to tell the young brothers how uncool it is. I share it on my social media.
Right.
I'm sharing clips on movies, TVs, just some horrible things of rappers' testimonies about anything you can say to try to just let you never know, you might be saving somebody's life, or more importantly, maybe they're behind prison. So could you tell us, like, why shouldn't somebody want to go to prison?
First of all, that's an excellent question. Excellent question. You have to imagine, if you haven't been to prison, you have to imagine being stuck. literally, not being able to do anything for years. Let's start with that. For years. You're going to be around some of the most horrible people. And you know, it's amazing how when I used to run the streets, I seen a lot. Shootouts and violence, drug dealing, drug selling, all the stuff that comes in that subculture. But prison is a whole nother animal, even from that. You have to imagine being around men all goddamn day.
Yes, sir.
No children around, no women around. Okay? You have these crackers, excuse the expression, but these hillbillies that you know they can't do nothing with you one-on-one, intellectually, physically, or otherwise. They can't do really nothing. But they have the power over you because they have the keys, they have the sticks, and they have the guns. And they talk to you any kind of way they want, any kind of way they feel. It's degrading. Everything that you love being a free person is taken away. You have to wear polyester clothes. See, don't be fooled by when you see prison photographs and dudes is in there bricked up, you know, and they smiling and they posing like everything is good and happy.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Mm, 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 mm.
No, it's not. It's not like that. The food is, you can't even explain it. That's why so many brothers, and this is a public health piece,
Yes,
so
sir.
many brothers come home with cancer. So, and I'm saying these things because these are the realities. Like, imagine going in and you make it out, but when you make it out, you have cancer or diabetes or hypertension or some other type of disease. Even your mental health is affected. When I got out, brother, because I mentioned mental health, I got some counseling. It's real. You, if you're a wolf, meaning like if you're alpha, you're always on edge because you might have to kill somebody.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See? So you don't want to kill if you have any sense because now you're really not going to get out. So you have to develop the thinking to avoid certain situations. You really do. So the more progressive you are, you're able to overcome it. But I'm telling you straight up, prison is corny. There's nothing tough about it. There's nothing macho about it. That SHIT is corny, bro. I'm telling you. And then I'm sending that message to everybody. Your whole life is taken away. If you're doing 1 year, if you're doing 30 years, your life is disrupted, it's taken away. Imagine being around men who are never getting out. I befriended a lot of brothers that's still in there. Some of them are never getting out. But they're trying to hold on to some type of hope. But the reality, sometimes when you look at it, they're not getting out. The brother that I told you about, Herman Bell, I think he did 40 years, brother. 40 years. And the enemy still didn't want to let him out. See? And then when they did let him out, there was a problem. Death threats, etc. You know? And Allah bless myself and Brother John, we received a call. I was friends with him on the inside. I learned a lot from this brother. And we helped, they called the FOI, we helped escort him home because of these death threats from the enemy. See? I'll let Brother John tell you more about it, you know? But I just wanted to point out that he did 40 years and almost didn't even get out. See? So one moment in time can cost you a lifetime of pain and misery. Imagine having to go to shower with a bunch of other guys. Eating in a mess hall where you gotta hurry up and eat your food like an animal. That's not high civilization.
That's right. That's right.
You go on a visit, you get searched going to the visit, and then when you come back from the visit, you have to bend over and show your backside to a CO because they want to make sure that you're not bringing in contraband. So as a real man, how in the hell did you think that made me feel? How did I feel about that? Well, the law's God. It got to a point where I start telling them straight up because they knew who I am, and I demanded respect. So there were many times when I would say, listen, you know who I am. I'm not bringing in no content. I'm not doing that. It's degrading. Okay, go ahead, man. You know? Look them straight in the eye. But the point is, it's degrading. Like, you don't want that. You know? You're away from your family, far away. If you in the feds, you in a whole nother state. If you in New York State, they send you way to the other side. Sometimes you're damn near Canada, away from your people. You know? And it's just a living hell sometimes, brother. You see, it's a lot of violence sometimes. I seen brothers get stabbed up, get cut up. I seen brothers die. Brothers die from getting stabbed. Brothers die from overdosing on drugs. Some brothers commit suicide. And I seen many brothers die at the hands of prison guards, getting beat to death. You see them take a guy to the box, and the next morning you hear he's dead. No, brother, there's nothing good about prison. There's nothing good about prison. So put them guns down, put them drugs down, and find another way, man. Find another way, because that ain't the way. Because the white man got something for all that, you know? Yeah, but that's my testimony on that.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir.
And listen, Brother John, to tell you this, man, I don't even talk about prison. I don't even talk about it. I don't even want to hear about it most of the time. You know, but
Yes, sir.
that's how much I despise it, you know. But Allah bless me, man. Real quick, let me drop this on you, is that the beautiful thing, you know, because I was in New York, and the Nation of Islam has a heavy presence in the New York State prison system.
Okay.
So I was still connected, you know, with the mosque. At times, you know, the brothers would come in, Brother Minister Henry, Brother Salam, formerly Brother Robert Nanex. He kind of jump-started, you know, the prison ministry program, you know, so brothers was always coming in, you know, seeing myself and Brother John, and, you know, that brought a sigh of relief a lot of times, you know, just being able to see the brothers, even though I was on the other side of it, but, you know, it was a sigh of relief at many times. You know, so and again, that's a blessing from the God that we lived in. So although I was being, I don't want to say punished, but I was being had to be responsible for taking actions other than what a FOI is supposed to do. But I think because I am a believer and I don't care no matter what, I'm going to the grave with the God that we believe in, brother.
Praise be to Allah.
You know, I listen, and you know, and I think just because of that, that Allah blessed me to still be in contact with the believers, man. You know what I mean? And again, it was a part of my healing process. You know.
Praise be to
Any
Allah.
other
Yes, sir.
questions?
Oh, of course. I want to talk to you about the administrations. First of all, thank you for your testimony, and thank everybody who continued to watch, like, share, subscribe. The administrations. We last time we spoke of your close relationship with Minister Hafiz. What
Yes.
about what it was like being under Minister Reverend Ben Chavis when he was the minister of the mosque? What was that like?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't in the ranks. I
Okay,
was. I was away. I was away when he was sitting in that seat. I was away.
okay, great. Yes, sir.
Right. So I worked again with of course Brother Hafiz and with Minister Conrad at that time.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir.
Right.
Well, what is your favorite memory of Minister Hafiz that you can share with us?
I don't know, brother. There's a lot of memories with brother. But you know what? Let me thank you for this, brother. I meant to say it in the beginning of your program. That first interview that we did, it really helped me grieve, brother. And I wanted to thank you for that. I appreciate that because, you know, when brother passed away, man, it personally, man, it had a deep effect on me. It impacted me deeply. I didn't even really talk to a lot of people about it. So, you know, when I was able to talk about him, you know, on your program, it really helped me get through the grieving process. And I really felt better after that, you know. So again, I appreciate that, and I want to thank you for that, man. You
Praise
know,
be to Allah.
but I don't know, man. I can't say what my fondest memory is because brother was just so much. He was just so much. But what I do miss, you know, I miss his laugh and you know the way you know we used to joke around sometime, you know. And I I was telling this to brother John, I think recently, but you know I was going through some things um, last year, and I mentioned to brother John, I said, you know, man, I said I really miss brother Hafiz. I need him here with me right now, just to talk about some things that I was dealing with because brother was a very good counselor, a very good counselor, and that I can say I really miss about him. You know, he had a genuine way of really understanding and connecting with you, you know, when you know you were going through personal problems, you know. But I told brother that I said, man, I miss brother. I need him here, you know, right now, you know. And you know, I still have his number in my phone.
Praise Allah.
I haven't even deleted his number yet. You know, sometime when I'm scrolling, I see his name there, you know, but his number is still on my phone, you know. And real quick too, man, we lost a believer FOI recently, brother Wilmer X,
Mm.
and I just want to express our condolences for him. Brother Wilmer was one of our elders, very strong believer, came from the Puerto Rican community, you know, loved the teachings, loved the mosque, would do anything, you know, to help out in the mosque. And you know, we lost him the other day, and you know, since 2020, brother, we've kind of lost a lot of believers in New York,
Absolutely.
you know. We really have. And I just want to say to everyone, please take care of your health. Take care of your health. Eat right, exercise, take care of your mental health. If you're around toxicity, get away from it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please, get away from it. Be happy. Be happy with yourself. Be happy with your God, you know, and really, really, just take care of your physical and your mental health. Your peace is not negotiable. Your peace of mind shouldn't be negotiable. Real talk, you know?
Yes, I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
yes, sir.
Beautiful. Now, we spoke earlier of your sons. What advice would you give to future fathers?
Man, listen, they're difficult, difficult. I'm speaking to the generation. Um, you really have to comprehend how they think, uh, how they see the world, because they don't see it through our lens, meaning us older folks.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Real,
sir.
you know, um, you have to talk, but you really have to be a good listener.
Mm, mm.
You have to lead by example. Don't say one thing, but they see you doing something else. Young folk don't respect that. It even goes to the street level. Like, you hear the young guys say, yo, these old heads, they tell us this and that, but when you see him over here, he's chasing the young girls or he's getting high or whatever, but he's trying to tell us not to do X, Y, Z. So you got to be careful with that.
Yes, sir.
Don't contradict who you are. See? Um, be be direct, but have explanation. Because what I realized, even this with my own children, they they don't like authority, meaning somebody's on top of them telling them what to do. Like, yo, do this, do it. That don't work with them. It don't work with them. So you have to find the time and the patience to have intelligent dialogue. And you got to give them their space. Like what I mean by that is they may not want to hear it when you approach. Give them that space. But you got to continue to come back and you have to be able to relate to them you know, on their level, on their experience, on their generational experience,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
on what they're dealing with every day as young black men or young black women. You know, um, I just had a conversation with my niece, like she's like a daughter to me, and it was about a lot of things, and I let her do more talking, and I did a lot of listening, and I found a way you have to be strategic in your responses in order for them to accept, what you have to say. But I think when you come off again as an authoritarian or as or just generalizing things, you're not going to be able to have any way with them. To me, what I've learned through trial and error, that's just how this generation is. And especially with my youngest son, he's 25. Like what I do with him a lot of times, I'll ask him, you know, like, what are you really feeling? What are you really thinking? What's on your mind? Explain to me why you did XYZ and explain to me the sense that it makes. You have to ask them and allow them to really express themselves. If you coming off like you chastising them, they're just gonna run away from it. So you have to give them room to get comfortable with that open dialogue, you know, really do. It can't be I'm your father, you're my son, and I said do this. That don't work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That don't work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you know. So I think that's my advice on how you should relate, to your children, or to the younger generation. You know, and they have to see you doing. They have to see you doing. See, this is one of my secrets too. At the end of the day, it's almost like a competition. I always show my sons that I can do it better. That's what they respect. See, that's what they respect. So I always show them in some kind of form or fashion that I can do it better. Then they say, damn, all right, Pop, you got that. Now let's talk. I mean,
Yes, sir.
that's just how it is. But you got to know, a little bit of everything, man. You got to know the music. You got to know what's happening in the streets. You got to keep your ear to the streets. You have to really know what they're about. I talk to my son about the hip hop and music they listen to, and sports, and you gotta be able to relate. You just can't be some old fogey thinking about back in the days. Because
Yes,
back
sir.
in the days is just what it is. Back in the days.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Because you
sir.
got to be current, man. You got to be current.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. What have you been doing for fun since the pandemic has been so real?
Fun. I'll tell you one thing. I watched a lot of basketball.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Last 2 seasons, a lot of basketball. Some comedy. I like comedy.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. I love movies and film, but
Okay.
there hasn't in the last 2 years. I haven't really been impressed with the quality of movies that's being produced. I saw what do you call it? Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Did you
Yes, sir.
see that?
No, sir. I
That
didn't
was
see it.
you didn't see that yet?
No, everybody keeps talking about it. But I ain't see
Oh
it.
man, brother, but that now that was a good. I think I would say uh that was probably my favorite film in the last year and a half or so. Did you see Queen and Slim?
No, sir. I did not see Queen of Sun.
Come on, brother Joshua.
like movies where I know the ending gonna be tragic, I just be like, I try to stay away from that. I try to keep.
No, but you gotta come on. You a historian too, brother,
yes, sir,
journalist.
yes, sir,
You gotta watch it, man. But that was a good film. I didn't like how it ended.
Yes, sir.
But the relationship dynamic is what really impressed me, with the film. Although I didn't like how it ended. I mean, we two black filmmakers, two black filmmakers. Yo, we gotta win, man.
Exactly. Exactly.
We gotta win.
Win.
That's what media is for.
I agree.
The white man lies every day in movies.
I agree. I agree.
Every day. He has a hero warrior complex.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So when you watch James Bond, when you look at Schwarzenegger, Stallone,
Yeah, absolutely.
They always winning.
I agree. 100%.
We have to do, when I was growing up, you know who my heroes were?
What was that?
Fred Williamson.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Jim Brown.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Those are my heroes, but I did not have white heroes growing up. But those were my heroes, man. Anytime they came out with a movie, my mother or my father was taking me to see those movies. Because in those films, those brothers had enough sense back then to show black people winning. They was killing white people in their movies. You don't see one movie, hardly now, where we killing white folk. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I'm talking about imagery. I'm talking about subconsciousness. See, so those brothers back then, they showed in their films that I'm not afraid of the white man and I can beat the white man. And they showed you the evil of the white man.
Yes,
and that's the reason why they had to beat him, and then sometimes they had to kill him in these films. So that does something to you as a child or as a young person in terms of how you're affected by the media that you see. But when you
I
look at the media today, when you see us as our great brother Dr. Wesley's been pointing out, the feminization of Black men. You don't see us in masculine roles, hardly. It's always some feminized, corny, weak, crying, tears in your eyes role. But the white man, every day, he's the hero, you know? But we
Yes,
gotta
sir.
win, man. We gotta make films, and we gotta tell stories and oral traditions, and we have to write how we winning, bro.
I
You know what
agree.
I mean?
I agree. There's a
Huh?
the Wu Tang series series. I don't know if you're keeping up with that because it comes out with season 2.
Yeah, they're
That's
coming
pretty
out
good.
with. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw season one. It was pretty good. It
Yeah.
was kind of accurate.
Okay.
Kind of accurate. What I
Okay.
mean by it's like the culture of that time period in the 90s. You know, it was kind of accurate. It was okay.
Okay. Yes,
You know
sir.
what I mean?
Yes, sir.
But if you ever get a chance, check out I'm giving my man a promo, my man Boom P. If you ever get a chance, check out the web series Respect Life. It's
Respect life on YouTube.
on YouTube. Yes. You know, it's about Brooklyn life, you know? Yeah. And there used to be a really good series called Money and Violence. Brothers from Brooklyn produced it. You know,
Mm,
and
mm.
some of these film genres, you know, they of course they deal with street life and street culture. But there's good messages in all of it. But when the depictions are close to reality, that's where I really enjoy it, you know? Because I'm tell you straight up, I wasn't a fan of Power.
You like Power?
Power did nothing for me.
What about Snowfall? Are you up on Snowfall?
Snowfall's good.
Give
No,
Snowfall. I'm gonna say give Snowfall a chance, man. Snowfall's good.
no, Snowfall is good.
Yeah,
Snowfall is
Snowfall is
good,
good.
but I was not a fan of Power at all. But you know, those are some of the things I do for fun, man. I love film. I love music, um, old school, some of the new school stuff. But I think that, in my opinion, a lot of the hip hop is becoming dangerous.
Mm,
The
mm.
enemy has turned it, they weaponized it, turned it as a weapon against us because, like, I'm listening to some of these songs, and if you love hip hop, you get caught up in the beat. Because these beats now are far more better than like when I was growing up,
Well, I agree. I
when hip
agree.
hop first started. Because you know we come from the boom bap, but
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
these beats now are awesome. But when you listen to the lyrics, I'm like, what the hell is this guy talking about? You
Mm, mm,
know,
mm,
everything is overemphasized about killing a nigga,
mm, mm, mm.
killing a nigga. You know, so it's like, what are we doing? So I like the beats, but I'm not really appreciating the lyrics because these brothers are lost, man. And we really have to do something about that. We really do, because these brothers, you know, when you listen to the baby, he kills like 50 people in every record, 50 black people, blow off your head and all this nonsense. You know, I listened to this song. What's my man name? Spot 'em, got 'em.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What are
Yes, sir.
these guys talking about, brother Joshua? Like,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
you know, shoot him in the spine, knock his dreads off, and all of that. Like, who are they? They're talking about us. And there's already an extreme, and again, I'm coming from the public health perspective. There's an extreme um culture of violence in our communities now, and I think we need to find a scientific way to deal with it because it's 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 becoming it's a serious problem. Chicago's off the hook, Philly's off the hook, Baltimore's off the hook, New York is about to get off the hook. You know, it's a real serious problem. So again, we got to bring our minds together. I'm talking about the Nation of Islam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We got to bring our great minds together, and we need to solve some of these problems. Let's disentangle some of what we're caught up in, as the minister talks about, the entanglement of words, you know, and let's use our mathematical theology to solve the problems of our people. That's where I'm at with it. You know,
Praise be to
no
the
more of that old stuff. Let's use our mathematical theology to build our nation and solve the problems of our people, because we're the vanguard. You know, nobody else can do it but us. Nobody else.
Lord. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, I want us to leave on that note, on a positive note, a high note. And I want to thank everybody who continue to watch, like, share, and subscribe to People's Podcast. I can't wait to put this on YouTube. Part 2 of our brother Robert E. Muhammad. This means a lot to me, sir. Please give the greetings to your family and the believers. And
Yes,
let
sir.
us know whatever you have upcoming that you're working on. Please, the People's Podcast is yours.
Most
sir.
certainly.
You know,
Most
you can always
certainly.
come back.
Most certainly. Next time I talk to you, I want to present something to you.
It'd be my honor. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This
All
is
right?
Joshua. Yes, sir. This is
Mhm.
Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. Thank you all for watching, and thank you, Brother Robert E. Muhammad, for coming on the People's Podcast.
Brother, thank you, beloved. Thank you a lot, beloved.
Yes, sir. The honor was mine.
Yes, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.